Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Beth, and I am with the Education Alliance. At the Education Alliance, we work to connect businesses and community partners with public schools across West Virginia. And our goal is to help students discover career possibilities that build skills and confidence that they need for life after graduation. And one of the ways we do that is through a virtual work-based program, which gives students direct access to professionals and industries that they may not know about otherwise. Today, we are so excited to hear from Appalachian Power, giving you a behind-the-scenes look at real careers and real workplaces. As a reminder, this session is meant to be interactive and engaging. So, as our speakers share their knowledge, I encourage you to write down any questions or thoughts that come to mind. And there's going to be dedicated time throughout the session for conversation and any kind of question and answers. With that, I'm happy to turn things over to Amanda McClellan from Appalachian Power to get us started.
Hello, everybody. My name is Amanda McClellan. I'm a project coordinator with Appalachian Power. I am based in Winfield, West Virginia, and presenting with me today is LaTanya Porter. She is a project coordinator senior, or excuse me, a project coordinator principal, and she's based in Charleston, West Virginia. And we're going to start our meeting today off like we do any meeting with Appalachian Power Company, and that is with a safety contact. So I think this is really fitting with the class there at Herbert Hoover High School. You guys happen to be a chemistry class. And this week is National Burn Awareness Week. So their theme this year is burn prevention, where you live, work, and play, preventing burns in the workplace. So for you guys, it might be preventing burns in the classroom, right? So what are some things that you should do if a burn occurs? Do you know?
What did you
Anybody
say,
there in Miss
guys?
Whittington's class?
Tell Miss Whittington.
They said tell Miss Whittington.
That is important, right? Yeah, you got to tell somebody for sure. But like as far
Where,
as first aid
We
goes,
gotta
what do you do?
what about first aid? Does anybody have any ideas on first aid?
Yeah.
The wash.
Well, okay, so they're saying if they had a chemical burn, they would go to the wash station. And then we have our first aid kit. Our first aid kit's actually right behind where the camera's set up right now. But kind of where they're in high school, their first thing they have to do is get me, and then I and the nurse are supposed to handle it. So they don't really know much as far as actual first aid beyond that.
Okay. So let's just say instead of being in the classroom, right? Because you got different rules because you're in the classroom, just like we have different rules because we're at Appalachian Power Company. We have safety people that we have to let know if something like that happens. If you were at home and you got a burn, what would you do? Call mom?
How bad of a burn is it?
How bad of a
Well,
burn
yeah,
is it?
it all kind of depends, right? But the first aid for burns is to follow the C's. So cool it with cool water, so not warm water, cold water, right? Then you're going to call if you need to call mom or call 911 or call somebody, right? And then you're going to cover it. And that's what you need to do should you end up with a burn. But what are some things that you guys do in your classroom to prevent burns?
Tie our hair back.
Yeah. What about
Aprons,
loose clothing?
Safety goggles.
proper clothing, safety goggles, yes. Closed-toed shoes, okay.
Very good. So in the workplace, we call that wearing your preventative um, protective equipment, right? Your PPE, your personal protective equipment. So we have that in our line of work at Appalachian Power, and you guys have that there in your classroom. So that's a quick little safety moment of the reasons why we wear those things, right? Not because we want to look goofy when we're doing our chemistry experiments, is because we don't want to have anybody get burned, and we sure in the world don't want to have to cause our teacher to have to do more paperwork. Or in our line of work, we don't want our safety folks to have to do more investigations. So thank you guys for that. That's great. So again, we're two parts to this, right? We're going to talk a little bit about Appalachian Power Company, and then we're going to talk about some of the culture that we have here at Appalachian Power and how that can apply to you guys as students. So what does Appalachian Power Company make? What do we sell? I know that's a goofy question, but you'd be surprised how many times we ask it and nobody knows.
What'd you say, guys?
Power.
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 Electricity.
Who lost power this past week?
What is it? I'm
Nobody?
sorry, you broke up there, Amanda.
Who lost power this past week? Yeah, quite a few people, right? It was really, really cold and icy. So we all appreciate our power when we have it, right? And we really, really appreciate it when we don't have it. But that's something that everybody needs, right? And so our industry is something that you can go anywhere in the world and people have power. And so somebody's got to provide that. And we've got lots of different roles within the power company that allow us to do that for you. So whether it's generating the power or it goes through our transmission and distribution lines, we have lots of people who work in an office situation or setting to support those frontline employees that do that kind of thing. We have people that are in the call center. We have people in the medical field, accounting and finance and legal. Just about any career path you can think of, there's somebody with that job title within AEP or Appalachian Power. So I'm going to share my screen and go through a quick little video about AEP and Appalachian Power, and then we will talk if you guys have any questions about that. That was a quick little video of the overview of Appalachian Power. So obviously you guys got it right. We sell electricity, right? That's what we do. What are some things that use a lot of electricity in your house?
What'd you say?
PS5.
Your PS5.
Yeah, your electronics, they use electricity. Not a whole lot, but yes, they do. Your parents probably make you think that the lights use a lot and your gaming stuff uses a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it's probably a small percentage of the power that's used at your house. What else uses a lot of power?
Heat.
Your refrigerator.
Refrigerator, heat, dryer, appliances, they said.
Yeah.
Oh.
Holy bridge.
So some of us get our heat from electricity, and some of us might get our heat from gas. But yes, if you have electric heat, then you're going to have a high bill this time of the year, right? Because we're using a lot of electricity because it's cold outside. So that's something that you can kind of think about. Where one of the few utilities that you pay for what you use, right? So do you have internet and cable service at your house? Probably so, right? You use that whether it's working or not. You're paying a monthly rate for it. And for electricity, you're going to pay for what you actually use. So I encourage all of you guys to think about and talk to your parents and look at your bills and look and see, how do you think the weather affects your power bill? It's pretty much a direct comparison, right? When it's cold outside, you're paying more money to heat your home if you have electric heat, right? What about the summertime? You're probably using your air conditioners, right? Those are all electric. So when do you think your power bill is the lowest or the least expensive?
In the spring and fall.
Spring and fall, exactly. So you're, that's because those are the seasons where you open the windows and let the air come in, and you're not spending a whole lot of money on your heating and ventilation and air conditioning and things. So absolutely. So you can control how much electricity you use in your home. And the other piece that I want to make sure that you guys kind of understand a little bit about the power company is how we can make our rates less for everybody. So there's a fixed cost when it comes to generating our power. And the more people that we have to utilize those fixed costs to get our power, the cheaper the rate is. Okay. So we have lots of different ways that we generate power, right? We have solar, we have wind, water, coal, lots of different ways, nuclear, that we can generate the power. We need to be able to use that power, right? So what's something right now that's being talked about a lot that's coming into different areas of West Virginia? So far, we don't have one in Kanawha County. I haven't heard, but what's something that uses a whole lot of electricity that is currently being debated in the Capitol right now by the legislators? Do you guys know? Have you heard of data centers?
Data centers.
Right.
As you just said.
Data centers are a big thing, right? So there's an environmental impact that comes with those, but then there's also how those can affect your electricity bills. So that's something interesting for you to think about and how that works. Do we have any questions about the power company?
Do you like working at the power company?
I do like working at the power company. I've been here for about 8 years, and I enjoy it all the time. I get to do lots of different things. So part of one little piece of my job is I manage our drone program. So we use drones to inspect the lines, and we didn't get to use a whole lot of drones this past week or so with the weather because our drone batteries, technically they can go down to 4 degrees Fahrenheit, but it shortens the length of the flight time. Typically on a nice day when it's like 70 degrees outside, on a full charge battery, you can fly for about 35 minutes. With the weather that we had here over the last couple of days, they've been able to get maybe 10 to 12-minute flights. So I haven't done a whole lot of work in as far as the drones go, but that's one of the things that I do at the power company. LaTanya, what about you? Can you answer that question? Do you like to work at Appalachian Power?
I do, and I have 30 plus years of service here. So it's probably one of the best employers and largest employers in the state of West Virginia outside of the state of West Virginia. So I do enjoy working here, been here a long time. Plan to retire from here.
Can you
One
guys
thing,
guess how many? Oh, go ahead, Miss Whittington.
Mrs. Whittington, one thing I don't think that they realize is how many different types of jobs that there are with AEP. I'll try to tell them a little bit because I don't know an extensive list, but we have a friend who's a machinist for AEP, and we took our earth science and other class on a field trip to Marshall where they got to see what machinists do, and I talked to them a little bit about that. But I think there's just a lot of careers that they don't even know are available with AEP. Like, let me ask you guys, if I asked you, what do you think you could do with AEP? What comes to your guys' mind?
Make power.
Like just working on power lines, checking meters, things like that. Electrician, somebody said. So I think that there's just a lot out there that they don't even realize is available to them.
Is there anybody in there that likes to go out and collect leaves and can identify the different types of trees?
Anybody?
Nobody's raising their hand out there. So that's something that we have. We have utility foresters. And so those are folks who have typically a 4-year degree in forestry. So you could get that at, say, like Glenville State College up in the northern part of the state. And we have those folks who go out and they work directly with our contractors like Asplund. You've probably seen those trucks along the side of the road that are cutting trees. And so they are paying attention to what needs to be cut, how often it needs to be cut, and whether we have what we call danger trees. So those are trees that look like they're not in the greatest of health, and making sure that we get those hopefully taken care of before they fall on our lines. Now we can only cut so far away in our right of way. We can only cut a certain distance away from where our lines are. And there's oftentimes, I know this past storm, there were lots of pictures that I saw of trees that we call outside of the right of way. So our right of ways are typically around 20 feet to the left and 20 feet to the right of a distribution line. And so if you have a really tall tree, you can do some math there. If you've got a 100-foot tree and it decides to fall, even if it's outside of our right of way, we can't cut it because we don't have permission to, because we don't have access to that land. It very easily can fall and hit our lines. And so we see that happen quite a lot, especially when we have ice and snow and wind and rain. Trying
So
to, you want to tell them
we
about
have
another career
positions.
path, LaTanya?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So we have positions from not needing a degree to if you need a degree. We have people who work at the call center. So if you like talking to people, they're our customer. That's the first face of the company. If you need anything from us, you start out by calling the call center first. So those positions, some of those, if you want to be in a supervisory position, you may have to have a degree. But if you just like talking to people and you want to answer the phones, they don't require a degree. We have positions that require only a 2-year degree. We have technical positions. We have customer service positions that may require a 4-year degree. We have positions where they are more trade. At our central machine shop, we have turbine winders. We have all different kinds. We are in 11 states, so you don't even have to stay in the state of West Virginia if you wanted to work for AEP. We have engineers, technicians, protection and control, people who work at the station, people who work in the coal yard at our power plants, people who work out on the boats that transport coal. So there's all different kinds. It's not just the people who work on the power lines. They're important, but that's not the only position. I know that's typically what you see if you're out and about somewhere, but people who read those meters that you have at your house, those folks, the people who do the back office work for those meters as well. As Amanda said, you have the right of way. So we have people who are actually responsible for getting right of way. So they're called right of way agents. So it's a vast number. Anything you think you might want to do, we probably have a position at AEP for it. May not be in West Virginia, but as I said, we're in 11 states, so we go a lot of different locations. What are some things that may interest you guys? And I'll tell you if we have a position like that. What are some of your interests?
What are some things that interest you guys? I know, now one of the things is I do know that I've got a lot that are interested in medical, and I'm assuming there's probably not much with medical, but I know I have a few that are definitely interested in engineering. What else, guys? Anything else? So I think a lot of engineering. Now, most of you guys raise your hand. I have a few kids that go to Carver as well. So they're already in, because this class is sophomores to seniors. So they're already getting some work in trades. So that could definitely be an interest. Raise your hand. How many of you are planning like 4-year degrees, or do you know yet? Okay. So we've got a lot that are planning tentatively 4-year degrees. And then this class is very heavily sophomore. So a lot of them are still trying to figure out kind of what they want to do and where they want to go. But do we have anybody that's definitively like deciding yet, or we're all pretty much trying to figure it out still? A lot of still trying to figure it out, and I think that's why they're kind of excited about this program because I told them, you know, we kind of hear about the same careers all the time, and this should help them learn what all's out there.
So here's a suggestion for you guys. Everybody has a cell phone. I suggest you go to aep.com and look at careers. And you will see some of the job postings that we have out there. And look at the job descriptions in those job postings. And if there's something that interests you, and it's a great time to do that right now because you haven't graduated, if some of you haven't made a final decision, look at those job descriptions and what some of those requirements are. And they may help you decide what you want to do. Because there's so many out there and there's so many different ways. We have our own IT departments, our cybersecurity departments, just so many different job opportunities that you can have with AEP. And that's a good start. Start with aep.com/careers, and it will show you some of our current job postings all around the AEP system. And you might find something that interests you that you can start working towards right now.
And you said 4-year degrees, Mrs. Whittington, but I would also encourage folks to definitely check out the 2-year degrees. We have quite a few programs where you can go and get a 2-year degree. So at some place like Bridge Valley, and be able to do some type of a technical degree program there. And the nice part about those is right now, at least, those are free in the state of West Virginia for you guys to be able to go to a 2-year program. And we also offer educational assistance at the power company. And so you could go and do your 2 years of free education there, come and work for us. And if you decide that you wanted to continue on and there was a career path here that made sense for you to move into, the company offers educational assistance to be able to help you pay for that additional education. So it's not something that you have to take on all yourself. If that's maybe for some people, that's not something that they can afford. And so there's ways to work around that and make that happen. Any other questions about the power company or anything we can answer for you?
I was just gonna say, Amanda, I do have a few kids, like I mentioned, that are in Carver already, and they even talked about raising their hand for wanting to go on for more education. So that would definitely be, that program you described would definitely be great to be able to get that 2-year degree, and then you can start working and then advance on.
And if you're somebody, let's say, that is maybe interested in line work, okay, you don't have to have a degree for that. We hire people off the street all the time. And we actually have a school in Marmette that we send folks to train them how to be a line mechanic. And so that's a 4-year apprenticeship program. Anybody want to take a guess on how much money you make after coming and working for us as a line mechanic? When you top out at a line mechanic A, how much money do you make?
80,000.
I heard 80 and I heard 50, and then I heard some crazy numbers.
I think they're right around $105,000 a year right now, and that's just straight time. And so very rarely do you see a line mechanic who only works 40 hours a week. So a lot of those folks are bringing in quite a bit of money, but again, they work long, hard hours, right? When you were nice and at home and it was, single-digit degree temperatures outside, those folks were out working. So they work hard. We put in quite a few hours when there's a storm that comes through, and sometimes it's not the greatest weather conditions, right? It's super cold or it's super hot. It could be snowing or raining or whatnot. But it's a great opportunity to give back to your community, and it's an awesome feeling when you see all the lights are out and all of a sudden you finish your work and you can energize all of those homes again and let them go on, continue with their normal day-to-day operations because of what you did. So there's definitely some money to be made, especially if you're not afraid to go and work, right? And again, that's a job where you don't have to have any kind of schooling whatsoever. We'll provide the school to you and pay you while you go to school there.
I think the biggest thing to remember is we have options from not having a degree to requiring a 2-year degree to requiring an advanced degree, there are so many options, but one thing is common for all of those. You have to finish high school first. So you do have to have your high school diploma.
And if you guys think of any other questions as the day goes, or feel free to reach out to the folks at Education Alliance, to Beth or Andrew, and they can get in touch with us and we'll get those questions answered. So now we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit. We're going to talk about culture at AEP. So I'll go ahead and share my screen, and LaTanya is going to have a question for you while I'm working on that. Is, what's culture? What does culture mean to you?
What's culture mean to you guys? Traditions, they said.
History.
History, relationships.
So what do you think drives daily behavior? What do you think drives your daily behavior at school, at home, or whatever you're doing? What do you think drives your daily behavior?
Morals, motivation, they said.
So all of those things are part of your culture. So culture is what you believe, how you behave, and the experiences your behavior delivers to other people. It's the experience your behavior delivers to your teachers, your parents, and your fellow students. It's your beliefs, your behaviors, and your experiences. And so the purpose of culture is to align, energize, and sustain winning behavior. It's not culture's job to make you feel good. Culture simply says, this is who you are, this is how you operate, this is what you believe, and this is how you can win. So why is culture important? Why do you think that's important? Why do you think culture is important?
Have good relationships with customers, one of the students said.
So there's a cycle between culture and behavior. Culture drives behavior, and behavior reinforces the culture that created it. So it's like a flywheel. Culture creates momentum, whether it's good or bad. So I know everybody's in class, so you have a piece of paper or a pencil or something. So we're going to write this down. We're going to write this comment down. People will compromise their personal standards to fit in. I want you to write it down because it's something I want you to remember. People will compromise their personal standards to fit in. That's what you guys might know of as peer pressure. So what does peer pressure mean? What does that mean?
I'm not sure if you could hear. She said when someone talks you into something.
So if you looked it up on Wikipedia, it would say that peer pressure is the direct influence on people by peers, or the effect on an individual who is encouraged and wants to follow their peers by changing their attitudes, values, or behaviors to conform to those of the influencing group or individual. So for the individual, this can result in either a positive or negative effect, or both. So everybody in our organization, everybody at your school, everybody on a sports team, if you're on some type of sports team, or if you're on some type of academic team, everyone is a creator or sustainer of culture through their behavior and their attitude. So what have you been a member of? What kind of team have you been a member of? Anybody a member of any type of team? Sports team, team at church?
I think we have quite a few athletes in here. We've got football, cross country, volleyball, softball, track, basketball. So we've got quite a few here.
So we're going to talk about the power of culture on a team. So you see some arrows, right? So we have two teams. We have team A and we have team B. So if you look at team A, those people are engaged, right? There's a high level of trust. They understand where they're going and how they're going to get there. Things are changing, but they're excited about the change. They know that nothing good can happen without change, and they want to be the best that they can be. They want to be the best in the school, the best in the state. And so you see those arrows are all going in the same direction, right? So if we look at team B, those employees are not as engaged, or those teammates aren't engaged, they're not paying attention in the meetings, they don't trust their coaches, they don't trust each other, they're unclear where the team is headed, and frankly, they probably just don't care. They're just there to be there. And they're fearful of change, and sometimes they resist it. So which of these two, A or B, do you think wins every time? A, right? Why do you think the A team wins?
Because they're all on the same page.
That's right. They're all going in the same direction. They're all on the same page. And so basically they out behave their competition. And that's why they win. So here's how we're going to talk about being exceptional managers of our 20 square feet and how we can win. So how do we become exceptional managers of our 20 square feet? Man, I don't see your PowerPoint, so I'm not sure what slide. Let me see. Okay. The reason behavior and skills are so important to how we operate at APCO and how you operate is because everybody employed here by this business, they own 20 square feet of our business. Everyone owns 20 square feet of their department, their crew, their team, or their work group strategy and ability to execute. It's the behavior of everyone that drives the team's performance. So if you worked here at APCO and you started working, what do you think some of the things we would give you on your first day at work?
What are some things that you think they would give you on your first day of work?
Safety equipment.
Basic training, safety equipment, pool.
Right. We might give you hard hats, some gloves, some pens and pencils and safety glasses. We definitely give you a culture playbook and your safety manual. But guess what else we're going to give you? We're going to give you 20 square feet of our business while you work here. And here's the big secret. You choose what you do and how you do it in your 20 square feet. Nobody else can make that decision. You own it, you choose it, and you choose the impact it has on our organization. You choose the impact your 20 square feet have on your team or family, and only you can choose how you operate in it.
So we have something at Appalachian Power where we call it being discipline driven, right? Discipline driven behavior is intentional, on purpose, and skillful. And it's behavior that is about making conscious choices. It's the what. It's on purpose behavior, making sure that we're very clear about the why. So why is the what important? And then skillful behavior is about the how. So that's like on top, that's above the line behavior, discipline driven behavior. And sometimes we can fall in what we call below the line behavior or default driven behavior. And that's being impulsive and on autopilot and resistant. And oftentimes that's kind of our natural state. So impulsive behavior is driven by emotions, right? On autopilot is driven by our habits, and resistant behavior is driven by comfort, which is, our tendency to seek the path of least resistance. So, which of these behaviors do you think provides the best team experience for those of you that were on some type of a team? Discipline driven or default driven?
Discipline.
Discipline driven, right? Does it take everybody to be discipline driven?
No.
Do you think, so you think you could have a few people that are being impulsive?
No.
and
Yes.
Resistant and still have a successful team, or you think everybody has to work together?
Yes. Everybody together.
Yeah. So everybody would have to be discipline driven, right?
So it's hard sometimes when you see that one person who maybe isn't as discipline driven as the others. Think about working on group projects. I'm sure you guys have group projects, right? Is everybody on your group project discipline driven? Probably not, right? So you have to figure out how do you pull those people up and get them to where they're making decisions with intention and they're being on purpose and skillful with those things. Which of those types of behaviors do you think deals best with change? Discipline driven, right? So how hard is it to get and stay discipline driven? Is it easy or is it hard?
Hard.
Right. Absolutely. It's very hard. How many of those 3 behaviors does it take to be discipline driven?
All of them.
It takes all of them, right? It takes all of them. You have to make decisions and be intentional about it. You have to do things on purpose and you got to put some effort in there and be skillful about it, right? How many of the 3 behaviors does it take to be default driven?
None.
Just one, right? If you make an impulsive decision, all of a sudden you're below the line and you're in that default mode. So it's really easy sometimes to go on autopilot, right? You have to pay attention to whether you're being default driven or you're being discipline driven. So we've got one more thing for you to write down. This is kind of a long one, but I think it's a good one. It says default driven people do what's comfortable even when it's ineffective. Default driven people do what is comfortable even when it's ineffective. Default driven people do what is comfortable even when it's ineffective. That's the first sentence. And the second part of this is disciplined driven people do what is necessary even when it's uncomfortable. Disciplined driven people do what is necessary even when it's uncomfortable. So those of you that play spring sports, who's been outside running in this lovely weather that we have? Probably, I don't see a lot of hands going up, right?
Yeah, there's a couple of them, but
There's a couple. Well, those people are probably the more discipline driven people when it comes to playing their sport, right?
I would say so, yes.
So they're doing what is necessary even when it's uncomfortable. So think about that next time. Are you doing what's comfortable and ineffective? Or are you doing what's necessary, which often sometimes comes with being uncomfortable, right? So it takes a lot of perseverance and grit to get and stay discipline driven, right? It's not easy. It's not easy. But we've kind of got a little formula that we use here at Appalachian Power that we want to share with you guys. LaTanya, you want to walk them through how to navigate with the formula?
And if I could find my unmute button, sure. So we use this formula. How do you think you can navigate the events of life and work in a way that produces exceptional results? How can we consistently get and stay discipline driven? How can we help Amanda and I help our company? How can you help your school, your teammates? How can we all help our families and friends get and stay discipline driven? So we begin by implementing a simple yet powerful system called E+R equals O, event plus response equal outcome. This system teaches something very important about discipline-driven behavior. It teaches that we don't control the events in our life and we don't directly control the outcomes, but we always control how we choose to respond. And how we choose to respond means everything. And that's what we call the R factor. So the events in life are constantly entering our 20 square feet, and outcomes are constantly a result of those events. It is what we do in that 20 square feet. It's what you do every day that determines what kind of outcome you're going to have. So there's always going to be some kind of outcome because our response determines if that outcome is positive or negative. So the R factor is teaching us how to manage the R. How can you manage your response? We can't control the events, and sometimes we can't even control the outcome. What we can control is our response, which will influence the kind of outcomes we get. So every day we're pursuing all kinds of outcomes and goals, whether you're at work, you're at home, even in your relationships with your friends and family. And at the same time, we're faced with continuous flow of events that threaten to knock us off track or have the potential to block us from achieving our goals. So what E+R=O teaches is that it's not the event that determines the ultimate outcome, but how we choose to respond to that event. You choose what actions you're going to take or not take in pursuit of your goals. You choose whether to give up or persevere through the inevitable challenges and obstacles you will experience. Can anyone else make that choice for you? Absolutely not.
Oh,
It's only you can choose how you're going to respond. The outcomes that you produce are the result of the quality of your art. Your outcome, you earn your outcome through the quality of how you respond. Your O is just feedback about how well your R is working. If the R isn't working, what do? You
Go
choose a
back.
different R, right? So you have to make your response stronger than any event you face. If you engage in a default-driven R, don't expect a discipline-driven O.
So because of time, we're going to kind of break a little bit from the PowerPoint and we're going to walk through an example of E+R=O. So we said what, sophomores through seniors in this class. So quite a few of you drive, right? Did you
Yeah.
face any events today while you were driving?
Did we what?
Face any event today while you were driving?
No.
Maybe run into any ice or anything while you were driving today?
Probably didn't have it.
Huh? I have one student whose car broke down.
It's like breakdown, but like it just stopped working.
It stopped working.
stopped working.
Well, I'd say that's a breakdown.
Okay, so that's an event. I like it. We can work with that. So that's our event, right? Did you have a whole lot of control over that?
No, I couldn't move
Probably
on.
not. Okay. So stuff happens, right? That kind of stuff, that's what we're talking about. Those are the events, right? And then ultimately you were driving this morning, right? And so what was your outcome? Why were you driving?
Yeah, school.
You wanted to get to school, right?
Yeah.
You wanted to get there safely, all in one piece, hopefully with the car, right? Because that's kind of the way you were planning about it, right? That was your outcome, was to get to school, hopefully on time, even though you did have a delay this morning because of the weather. But oftentimes we get stuck and we forget about what that outcome is. That event happens and we get so focused on the event, we forget about the outcome. So did you get to school on time this morning, even though your car broke down?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what did you do? What was your response when that happened?
I just turned the car off and back on and it worked fine.
Oh, okay. So start working.
Classic. All right. So you could have just not tried that at all, right? You could have just pull it off on the, been over on the side of the road and had yourself a little pity party and been like, oh my goodness, crying, whatever, because the car's broke down and I don't have any money or I can't, but instead you tried to, okay, what can I do in this situation? Because I need to get to school and I need to get there on time. So you kind of started going through some troubleshooting. So that's awesome. That was a great response. So what else happens sometimes when you drive? What are some other driving events that may happen to you guys?
Wreck.
You could wreck, yeah.
Your tire, goodness gracious. Okay.
What
On the
about
Your
interstate.
tires are low.
What is it, Audrey?
Tire monitor was like off. It was on the wrong tire. So we kept on blowing up the wrong tire. So one was really flat. So it just came off.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Your wheel can catch on fire.
Hold on. I'm not sure if you all were able to hear that, but what she said was that her tire came off on the interstate. One of the sensors was broken, so they kept airing up the wrong tire, and they were never airing up the low tire, and it led it to come off. Oh, hold on just a second, guys. Hey, that's the end of their class period, guys.
Okay. So thank you guys for participating today. That was awesome. But the whole idea of E+R=O is you need to consider your outcome, right? So if, for example, if somebody would have said traffic, right? Some things that you can do is, one, remember that you're trying to get to where you're going safely, and you don't need to do all the things that sometimes people do. To tell people that they're number one or get mad and frustrated, because that's not helping you achieve that outcome. That's not helping you get to where you need to go safely.
Yeah.
So think about your R. And when you're in those types of situations, be intentional, on purpose, and skillful, and think about, are you doing things that are actually going to help me achieve my outcome? Or am I doing things just because it's a habit driven, kind of on autopilot type response? So thank you guys very much for your participation today. Appreciate you, and feel free to reach out if you've got any additional questions about the power company or about R Factor. Thank you guys.
Thank
Thank you all
you.
for being here today.
Scared because I couldn't get above 40.
Just in conclusion, I just want to say I hope the session sparked new ideas and gave you helpful insight into career pathways. As a reminder, we're going to be doing calls every Monday, and there's going to be a full schedule of upcoming modules and links on our website, educationalliance.org/work-based learning. Thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.